subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
Welcome to a very important Reiju OP10 guide. Now that we are a couple of weeks into this meta, really want to step back, take a look at what's going on in locals, what's going on, all these different tournaments, and really figure out where Reiju stands and what is best for her. So before we go further along, one thing I want to quickly mention out is that we're going to be giving away some awesome free Germa 66 custom dons made by us. These things are super high quality and they just look really beautiful. So if you want to enter, simply just like this video, leave a comment, we'll pick a couple of winners. And yeah, you don't have to do anything else. But without further ado, one of the things I'm really excited to show you guys is this deck is straight from the OP simulator from high elo. So essentially this deck that I'm showing you has about a 65% win rate. So a lot of the top, players in the world are using a very similar deck to this. And this deck is like very fast, very aggro heavy, and really just doesn't give your opponent a chance to breathe. So if you've seen any of my other Reiju videos, like I'm not going to go super in depth and explain every little thing. Check out my other Reiju guides if you're interested. I'll kind of give you some high-level overviews and things to potentially watch for. So we're going to go through the deck list pretty quickly. Reiju, blue-purple leader. Anytime you do Don -1, which is taking a Don from your play area, putting it back into your Don deck, you get to draw your card. This has some awesome synergies. Your main character is going to be the Red Ranger, Ichiji. You essentially play this guy out for 4 cost. Don -1, you can summon this guy, the big Red Ranger, give your opponent's character -2,000, one of them, and you also get Rush. So definitely rock 4 of these, super important. Next is going to be Judge. Again, a lot of times when I say this is very controversial, I don't think you need 2 judges. There's so much draw power in your deck. You're always going to find Judge before you need them. Judge is also very situational. So having more than one, I think is kind of a waste. So rock 1, you'll be fine. Next is going to be Sora. I like to run 4 of these. Primarily used as a 2K counter. But at the same time, her ability to play her, discard a card from your hand, and essentially add a 4,000 power or less Vince Smoke, back from the trash to your hand, super powerful. So this way, like if you played out Ichiji and you have another one of these big Red Rangers, you can use her to summon this back to your hand, play it out. So you can do a lot of crazy combos. And I do have a very fun game for you guys to watch at the end after this deck list. Essentially, Bonnie is one of the scariest decks in OP10. Super strong. She's only going to get stronger. And I'm going to show you what a nuisance and how hard, the Reiju Germa deck can really slap her. So you'll kind of see a lot of fun comboing with Sora when you watch the gameplay. So rock 4 of these. Next, I like Niji. With the Jinbei ban and whatnot, I don't think you need like too many of these Niji. He's great because you can play him out, summon the big Blue Ranger, either KO at 2 cost or less, or send a 4 cost or less back to their hand so there's a blocker or any other annoying characters. This is really great to work with. I think you only need 2 of these, again, because it's very situational. Next, you're going to have Reiju. This one, super awesome, only 2 cost. I like to run about 4 of these. And one of the biggest benefits is when you summon her big counterpart by doing Don -1, essentially if you have 5 or less cards in your hand, you draw 2 cards. If you combine that with Reiju's ability where every time you Don -1, you draw a card, you can essentially draw 3 cards on a turn. That is beyond crazy, and this is the reason why Reiju doesn't need a lot of blockers, because she's going to have a lot of counters and cards in hand. Especially the bigger bodies, you don't mind getting rid of these because you can easily summon them back with their smaller counterpart. Next, we'll talk about the Foxy Engine. I like to run about 4 of these choppers. He's going to be a main blocker in the deck. He has 1k counter. And on top of that, when you have less Don than your opponent, which most of the times you will, when you play Chopper, you get to take a Don from a Don deck and set it as rested. So this is kind of how you can ramp back up if you're losing Don. Also, Portia's here. She's super, effective. Essentially, you play her Don -1, which activates your ability. Look at top 5 cards for Foxy characters. And the good part here is you can actually use it to find herself if you wanted to. Then, you play her, and then you can play a 4,000 power or less. So typically what you're going to see is you play out the Porsche, let's say you have 3 Dons left, you can summon the Red Ranger, or you play Porsche down, you can summon Chopper or Black Maria. So she's really great just to help you flood the board relatively quickly. Next, we're going to have Black Maria. I like to run about 3 of these. She's a great 2K counter. And on top of that, because you're always doing Dawn -1, a lot of times you're going to end up in a situation where your opponent has so much more Dawn than you. This is where Black Maria comes in. You play her, you activate her main, you get 5 rested Dawn, and at the end of your turn, you get rid of Dawns to make sure you and your opponent have equal Dawn. So if you're running low on Dawns, play her, catch back up, you're good to go. And if you don't use her, she's still a great 2K counter. Next, from OP10, we have this Sanji. Probably, one of the best things that could ever happen to this deck. Give it a lot more consistency. So he is a searcher. If your leader has Germa, look for 5 cards. He can search for himself, and then bottom deck the rest. So having him in the deck, super important, especially because with Germa, you want to try getting your red rangers and your pink rangers ASAP. Build up your hand size, and essentially just keep the pressure up with the rush red ranger. So running 4 of these, I think, is really great. Plus, if you need to use them as counter or use them for Germa Kingdom, you definitely can. Next up, one last card from the Foxy Engine we like to run. Instead of Gina, the new Foxy character is pretty awesome. 2K counter, and essentially you can trash this character and be able to get another card, which is really great. A lot of times I don't use them for that ability, but if you're in a situation like, hey, I need to draw some cards, I don't have anything good in my hand, you can play this card out, trash it, draw a card, and hopefully you get something epic. So I like to run 3 of these. I primarily use them for the 2K counter, but just having that additional ability to draw more cards, I think is great. Now, our last 3 cards. The first part is, this one is a little bit controversial. If you go to high elo games, you're going to notice people either running Gamma Knife or Red Rock. Red Rock is great because you pay 6 costs, you can bottom deck any character. The problem with that is the cost is way too high. If you play German characters long enough, you'll know for a fact that having 10 Dons always is kind of rare. So if you use Red Rock, which is a 6 cost to bottom deck a character, a lot of times you don't have anything left for a follow-up. This is where Gamma Knife is really awesome because it costs 2 costs. You do a Dawn -1 so you can activate your leader's ability. Then you give one of your opponent's character 5,000. Just with one alone, that means that if you have a 10,000 cost character, now they're only at 5,000, right? So if you play out a Big Shanks, or if you play out a Teach, if you combine, Gamma Knife with, let's say, Red Ranger's 2K, that's a lot of reduction right there. And if you end up getting 2 of these, that's a 10K reduction. And the reason why I prefer this over Red Rock is besides the cost, a lot of times if you're going against Jesus or other powerful characters like Kid from Bonnie, being able to play down a Gamma Knife and make them super weak is like way too powerful, and it does really great in most situations. So if you are going to locals and you're noticing Gamma Knife isn't enough, and you're still getting pummeled by really huge characters, then switch these out for Red Rock. I've also seen some people do 1 Gamma Knife, 1 Red Rock. The only problem with that is the consistency isn't really there, and you can't really search for those cards anyway. So run 2 Gamma Knife, and I think it'll do well. I struggled a lot with this next card, Black Bug. And ultimately, I feel like this has saved my butt way too many times. And I really like this card, and I love that you can actually search for it. So essentially, if you have less or equal Dawn than your opponent, which you will most of the time, you can bottom deck a 5 cost or less. So if you have a lot of annoying blockers or Lucky Roo, or just someone you want to get rid of, this is a really great, hey, I'm trying to end the game, or make an important play happen. So Black Bug is really, really crucial. And I only like to run about 1 of these. And then the last one is going to be Germa Kingdom. I like to run about 4 of these. This is one of your primary searches in the deck. You discard a card and look up the top 3 cards of your deck, look for a Germa character, and bottom deck the rest. So essentially, you can go ahead and get rid of a lot of your big bodies, like your Pink Ranger, Red Ranger, because you do play out of trash. When you get rid of these characters, it doesn't matter. You can summon them back with their smaller counterpart. So typically, I don't mind using characters like this, or even Nijis as counters, or fodder for Germa Kingdom, because that's how you can search through your deck. So between Germa Kingdom and Sanji, you're going to search through your deck probably once or twice, and that's why you only need one judge. So as I mentioned, this is a high elo deck. This is sitting at about a 65% win rate. Does well against most decks in general. You really have to know your gameplay. So if you like, Reiju, check her out. She's really powerful. And let's get into a Bonnie game just to show you how effective this deck can be and why people hate it so much. You can keep so much pressure going with this deck that it makes people's heads spin. So let's cut over there and let's see how things end up. Let's dive into our Bonnie game with Reiju OP10 and just see how crazy this deck can be. So Bonnie, she's annoying. Essentially, when you're attacking, she can use one Dawn to rest 20 characters, which makes it very difficult for a lot of decks, but especially with like Germa, it's not an issue. Typically, I'll mulligan if I don't find a searcher, but in this case, I have the baby pink ranger and the big ranger, so I can just play them out and essentially just get 3 cards. So let's go in for a quick attack right here. Get them to lose some cards out of hand. And then let's play out our pink ranger and then hopefully find some good cards. Just play that out and boom, look at that. We got 2 Black Marias, 2k counters, and we have our Germa Kingdom for next turn. So we can start searching and finding all the pieces. And they're going to attack with 5k. Like, I can easily block out of this. Sometimes it's worth taking it, if you want to get a extra card in hand or if you need something. I think Reiju plays perfectly fine with 3 or 2 health, so you don't have to worry too much about that. But I think in this case, it probably makes sense just to counter out of it. We don't really need the Pink Ranger right now. And just look at the amount of counters we have right now, what we can deal with. This is like pretty awesome. So here's the fun part. We can play down our kingdom. We can do some searches. And if we do end up finding something good, because if we have Porsche, we can play it out. Really hoping for like a Red Ranger. If I would have had one of them early on and then just found one, but it's fine. So I think we're just going to get some attack off, puts on the Porsche, and there it goes. Bonnie did her thing, which essentially rested my Reiju. And oh man, that's really unfortunate. That's actually a really good amount of cards that are coming out. But hey, it happens. I'm not too worried about it. And the good part is we have another Pink Ranger now. So if we wanted to, get more cards in hand later on, we can definitely do so. But Bonnie's really like protecting herself. She has 2 blockers. She's searching. So this is definitely smart by her. And she obviously wants to go for the Pink Ranger. And I'll probably let this slide. Maybe. Just because I can easily summon her back again and get more cards. Should we do it? You know what? Yeah, let's not do it. Because I feel like one of the things with Bonnie, you want to try to keep your deck as full as possible. Or not your deck, but your field in general. This way, if she ends up like, resting one of your characters, you still have other things you can do. So I'm going to protect this Reiju just to prevent that scenario happening. And I do believe I have another large Reiju in my trash. So if I were to summon, out her bigger body, get some more cards in hand, I can easily do so. And now I also have a Sanji searcher too, which is really good. So let's see. What type of plays do we want to make here? Yeah, let's just go in, see if we can bait out one of her. Yep, there we go. Now that we baited out her leader ability, now we kind of have some more options here. This way we don't really have to be too afraid of her popping into one of our characters. Boom. Let's take care of a searcher. When you have searchers like that, even like Lafitte, you can't let them sit there and just keep searching. You're going to have a bad time. I feel like he's going to give up Bart. Yep, there he goes. And now we can play out our Sanji. Look at that. No, man, I really wish I had the big Red Ranger. But here we can do another search and see if we can pull him. If we can pull him, that's going to be great for us. The other option is we can play the Pink Ranger out and get more cards in hand. So I think we'll do that. Let's get that. And we'll still have 2 more Dawns left. This is perfect. We can probably put the Chopper down instead. Give ourselves a little bit of cushion. Every time I have a Red Ranger, I always like to search with him. If he has no counters, he has no value to me right now. And he can like be in the trash. So we played out a Chopper. We got a Dawn back. And our board is pretty full here. And we have a blocker too. So Bonnie, I feel like, is already in trouble. But this game can literally change at any moment. That kind of makes sense. It's almost like I left the Blue Ranger out there to get baited. So there he goes. Man, he's a fun guy. I really wish I could use my custom Germa Dons in the game. You can only change 1 Don card. I wish you could change all 10. It would have been so cool. I really don't want to give up. Like I said, she really wants to rest my characters. I want to keep like a full board. So giving up Chopper is a no-brainer to me. And let's see. Let's give up the Reiju. We'll take the Blue Ranger just in case. We have the Sora too. So if we need to summon, his lower counterpart, we can easily do so. So the reason why I'm playing out Ichiji first, so I can at least get the 2k counter or reduction on the blocker. So this way, later on, I can attack with Porsche or Reiju and hopefully just take another card out from her board. You want to try to keep her as empty as possible. We still have 3 Dons, so I could like cheese it, put down a Porsche, and really mess with her. Maybe, we'll see. Let's see what she does. Oh, she actually gave it up. Nice. And look at that. We just have all these attacks, and she like literally can't do anything. She's keeping the pressure up, reducing her hand size, reducing her life. Now we're gonna do something super duper cheesy. I love doing this. We're gonna play her out. The Porsche. We found a Chopper, and look, we're gonna replace the big Red Ranger that we attacked with, resummon him back, and do another 7k swing. That is cheesy as hell. Especially now that we have Sora. If he end up getting destroyed, we can just summon him back again. Oh, he played the big green Dofi. He froze 3 of my characters. Super annoying, but I feel like we're gonna deal with this. This shouldn't be too hard. Bonnie is definitely very annoying. I feel like with Reiju, she's not as much, but yeah, we really want to keep our board full here. Keep the constant pressure up. We have 6 Dons. And our Red Ranger is rested. You know what? We're going to show you another cheesy thing right here. Watch this. Let's do a search first. Oh, we have a Red Ranger. Perfect. And now you can probably guess what I'm going to do. I'm just going to replace the big Ranger. Don -1. Summon him back. And boom, he was rested. He's no longer less rested. And now we've given Cavendish -2000 too. So this is really, really unfortunate for Bonnie. She's already down to 1 health. She's trying, but we're going to go for Cavendish. Because it is annoying that he can give her 2 active Dons. So we don't want to do it that. Let's swing with 6 right here. See if she counters out of this and lets it go. If not, we have another Reiju we can attack with. Yep, she did. So here we come in again. That's why that -2000 is so powerful. It makes it so easy to melt so many characters. And now look, she has the kid, but just look at like how stacked our board size is. Like there's not much you can really do here. There we go. We can bring the Red Ranger back with Sora, so I'm not too concerned here. There she goes, attacking. I feel like, yeah, let's counter out of this. Let's not give up any cards here because we want to keep this, big pressure up, and boom. We actually have Gamma Knife. I literally talked about this. Using Gamma Knife on characters like Kid. Like, he's literally going to be at 3k now. So we get back a Don. And now we also draw a card, which is another 2k counter. And look at that. Like, he's literally at 3k now. Ridiculous. Any of our characters can take him out. So this isn't even an issue. And then we can still bring back our Red Ranger and just totally mess with Bonnie. Like, this is why people hate Reiju. What you're seeing here is typically how most games are going. So, like, you don't need a lot of blockers because you have a lot of counters. We have a lot of pressure. So there she goes. Rest one of our Reijus, not a problem. And now we can just keep going in for the attack. Like, there's nothing she can do here. And we can still get the Red Ranger out. Boom. Let's get that off. Let's go in again. Now she has no health. And look, we're just going to come and end the game right here. There's literally nothing she can do. Put this out. And there we go. GG. Like, she knew it. And this is why Reiju is so powerful. Literally, if you know your matchups, honestly, even if you don't know your matchup, Reiju just has so much tech. She is so fast, and she's relatively easy to learn. So check her out. I think this is probably how I'm going to keep my deck for most of OP10. If I do make any slight tweaks or anything, I'll make another follow-up video for it. But so far, like, I'm happy this deck is doing well in high elo ranked play with like really amazing players working well in locals. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this deck. If you're running a different variation, let me know. And as I mentioned, leave a comment, like this video, and we'll pick a couple of winners to get our custom Dawn as well. 2 Germa Dons. And with that, Have a great day, night, wherever you may be.